In this video, we're going to talk about the 6 reasons you might want to consider doing the FRS investment plan as opposed to the FRS pension plan. To start off, I want to say that there's more than just 6 reasons. There's a lot of different reasons why you might want to choose the FRS investment plan versus the FRS pension plan. In this video, I'm just going to go over the 6 things that I think are usually the reasons you might want to consider the investment plan as opposed to the pension plan. Now, just so you know, if you're not familiar with it, the investment plan is essentially the cash out value of your pension at the Florida retirement system. So if you're in the Florida retirement system and you've been in the pension plan the whole time, you can make a second election to essentially cash out your pension and have a lump sum as opposed to a monthly check. Now, a lot of times people say, well, I want a monthly check. And obviously in retirement, that's important, but there are other factors that go into it as well. And that's what we're going to get into in this video. And as we go over these options, we're going to go from what I think is kind of the most obvious reason why you might want to do the investment plan versus maybe just some things to think about towards the end, okay? So the very first reason why you might want to consider doing the FRS investment plan is if you're in not very good health. And so this is a big one. The pension plan you can choose to go into it, and your spouse, there's some spousal options. We did videos on the different options, different pension options. I'm going to go ahead and click them or link them up here, a playlist up here that you can watch of the 4 different pension options. But the issue there is if something happens to your spouse, then nobody inherits anything if you're gone. Or if you do the pension plan and you don't have a spouse, there's not very good options for other beneficiaries. Okay, so if you're not great health, some people we talk to, they have terminal illnesses or they have history of cancer. Maybe just they don't have longevity in their life, or maybe they just some people just have a feeling, hey, I'm not going to make it that long based on my past health. You might want to consider doing the FRS investment plan. There are investments that you can go into, annuities or other types of investments, or just fixed interest rate accounts, where you can either take a monthly income and keep your principal the same, or get a guaranteed income check for your life, and then whatever's left in the account, if you do pass away early, will go to your beneficiaries. This is a really good option for somebody who's in that situation. So I'll tell you a story that happened to me about 12 years ago. We had a client who she was getting ready for retirement, and about 3 months before, she got diagnosed with cancer. And about 2 months before, they said it's terminal and there's nothing we can do. And then a month before, we realized that it's not going to last. She's not going to last very long. She doesn't have much longer to go. And she came in and I said, we need to switch over now. And in her mind, she goes, well, why would I switch over? It's a pension but she wasn't married, right? So if she would have stayed there, her beneficiaries, her kids, she had 3 kids, they would have inherited what's basically option number 2 in the pension. So they would have got her monthly pension paid out for 10 years and that's it. I think the monthly pension was about $2,000. Well, instead, we real quick switched her over to the investment plan, and the kids split $600,000 as opposed to $2,000 a month for 10 years. So you can do the math on that. So just something to think about. I know it's not a pleasant thing to talk about, right? Mortality is never a pleasant thing to talk about, but unfortunately, when you're talking about retirement planning and the decisions between pension and investment, that's essentially what it is, right? It's longevity. A pension there is if you're going to live a long time, right? We're going to do another video on the reasons you should do the pension plan. I'm going to link it here once it's posted, but it's there basically for longevity. And if that's not a possibility or not likely, the investment plan is likely something you want to look into to take care of your beneficiaries if and when you pass away. The second option goes along with the second reason you might want to consider switching to the investment plan goes along with the first reason, and that's simply if you want to take care of children or non-spousal beneficiaries. And a big part of this comes into number one, sometimes people just like the idea of leaving a legacy to their beneficiaries. And I always joke that it's kind of 50-50. Some of our clients come in and say, I really like the idea of leaving money to kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews and whoever else. And then other people come in and say, listen, I work for this. My kids, they're fine. They're making more money than I am. You know, I don't care if my last paycheck bounces, they're fine. But if you're if you're the first type of person, you want to leave money to beneficiaries that are not your spouse, the investment plan is the way to go. A good example of this one is we had a client who he was single, but he was caring for his daughter that was special needs. And the daughter that was special needs, if something happened to him, she would have no way of generating income. She'd have no way of earning anything. And so he went with the investment plan, and we set up accounts that he would basically just draw the interest off and would keep the death benefit the same, the account value the same. So if and when something happens to him, it will go to the benefit of his daughter. We also worked with an estate planning attorney to make sure a trust was set up correctly. So once again, everyone's different, right? So if you find yourself in a situation where other beneficiaries really depend on you for money, or if you just really want to leave money that are to beneficiaries that are not spouses, then the investment plan may be the best option. I just want to take a second while we're in the middle of the list to just say these are all individual, right? So if you're thinking that you one or two of these might apply, or you might want to explore it, let us know. You can book a complimentary consultation below. We work with the FRS every day. What we can do is we can call the FRS and get an illustration on how much your pension is versus how much your investment is. And then we can figure out what makes sense. We can show you what current interest rates are, investment options are, and we can go over it with you. Or if you just simply want to bounce it off of one of our advisors that does this every day for a living, go ahead and book a phone consultation below. Doesn't cost anything, and we'll look into it. Okay, so the third option that we have is whether or not you want flexible income. Now, this isn't super common, but some people don't need as much income in retirement. So some people don't need a really big pension. They like the ability of maybe taking more income now while they're young and less income down the road. You know, maybe they have a house that will be paid off in 10 years and a car that will be paid off in 5 years, and they need more income in the first 10 or 15 years of retirement and less down the road. You have control of your money, so you can create different income streams as you need it if you do the investment plan. If you do the pension plan, it's just a set amount plus your COLA, which is going to be between, for most people, between 1% and 3%. But that's it. So if you want the possibility of flexible income, or some people go, well, I'm going to start a business with my kids when I retire, and I need more income up front to get that business rolling. Those are reasons you might want to consider doing the investment plan as well. The fourth option is very similar to 1 and 2, and it's just if you want to leave a lump sum to beneficiaries. Now, some people, I talked about leaving money to people who are not your spouse, but also maybe sometimes it's better for your spouse to inherit $500,000 or $600,000 or $1 million in the investment plan or in a lump sum rather than a monthly check. So if that's a goal, if you'd like to leave beneficiaries a lump sum as opposed to a monthly check, the investment plan is the way to do that. Or the pension plan, if you take that income and buy a life insurance policy, is a possibility. But the nice thing with this is you don't have to buy a life insurance policy. You don't have to qualify for it. It's automatic. The fifth reason why some people are taking the investment plan as opposed to the pension plan is they can create their own pensions using income annuities. And so income annuities, there's a lot of them out there. But what a lot of people are doing nowadays is they're buying income annuities that are what's called deferred income annuities. And what that means is you don't lose access to the money. You still have the money there if you ever want to cash it out. Or if you pass away, your beneficiaries will get a lump sum of whatever's left in the account. But as long as you're alive, it will provide an income stream. Now, historically, the pension was way higher than what an income annuity would be able to provide. But now with rising interest rates, that difference has kind of shrunk. So let me give you a couple of numbers of just some numbers that we ran for a client last week. Okay, so this client was about to turn 62, or she is about to turn 62, and her monthly pension check from the FRS for pension option one, meaning that if she takes it and then she passes away, the rest of it stays with the state. That amount was $2,364 per month. So basically $2,364 when she turns 62. And then at that point, she would get that pension check, and then if something ever happened to her, that money stays with the state. So that was for the pension option. For the FRS investment plan, it was $374,534. And so that was hers. She could take that and do whatever you want. So what we did was we took that amount and then we shopped to see how much it would be if she did an income annuity. And that amount was $2,181. Now, that income annuity is based on today's interest rates, based on her age, based on what she put in. So that's not a guarantee of what you may get in your situation, depending on when you're watching this or how old you are, or even if you end up living, if you're watching this in a different state. This is about the Florida retirement system, but if you are, those factors go into it. But for her, it's $2,161. So it's $200 less, but there's over $300,000 there for her beneficiaries. Okay, so $200 less per month to provide a death benefit there. If she passes away, $327,000. Now, those income payments will reduce that amount, but that money's still there if she needs it, or if she passes away, it'll go to beneficiaries. Now, the other thing that we wanted to factor in, because she was single, was the income annuity provided a free long-term care type benefit. So this account actually provided what's called a home health care doubler, where if at any time, if she needed to go into a nursing home, or if she needed home health care or anything like that, it will double the income. So now she'd be getting over $4,300 a month to help pay for long-term care, as opposed to the pension that is just a flat $2,300 plus the COLA, but it doesn't double for that long-term care, and she wouldn't qualify for long-term care. So if you're thinking about, yeah, I like the idea of guaranteed income, but I want that money to go to beneficiaries, and I also like the idea of having some long-term care because long-term care is really expensive, the annuity option might be a really good option for you. Now, once again, it depends on your situation, depends on your age, it depends on your state, it depends on how long, when you plan on taking the money, all of those things. So if you're thinking about that option, it may or may not be great, it may or may not be similar to her numbers. My recommendation is book an appointment and we can shop it for you and let you know what the difference will be and whether or not it's a good option for you. And then the last option, I saved it for last because I want you to be very careful about this. The last option is having control of your money. Now, this could or could not be a good thing for some of you, right? I thought to some people when they say, well, if the money's there, I'm going to spend it. So I don't want to go with the investment plan, I want to go with the pension plan. And then other people, we've had some people take everything out and go do businesses that went under, and now they don't have a pension. So you just have to be very careful. But if you're very, very competent at investing, and you feel like you can do better and create more income, then the investment plan lets you take that money out and lets you invest it on your own into whatever you might want to invest it in. Okay. So but be very careful, because just because your portfolio over the last 15 years has, done really well, doesn't necessarily mean that it will keep doing well, right? And also on top of that, just because you have the energy and the time to manage that now, what happens when you get into your 70s and 80s and you no longer, are able to manage that yourself? So if you're thinking about managing yourself, or thinking about having a relative manage it, which, be careful there, we've seen a lot of relationships damaged because of that. Just think twice about it, but that is an option. If that is really important to control the money and invest it on your own, then you can do that. Some people are uncomfortable with the FRS, right? Some people are uncomfortable with the Florida retirement system, and basically, because other pensions around the country have gone under, they're a little worried about having all their pension money tied up with a pension plan. That being said, the FRS pension is one of the most stable and secure pensions in the country. So I would say maybe that's not quite a great excuse, because the pension plan is pretty stable in the state of Florida. But if that is your concern, and you do want to control it on your own, or have a financial advisor do that, then that is an option. Just be very careful, because just because in the past there have been returns, or a financial advisor says, yeah, my portfolio's performed 7% in the past, doesn't necessarily mean that that's what will happen in the future. So just be extra careful when you're doing that. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you got some good information, and I hope it helps you make some decisions about the Florida retirement system and your options that are available. We're going to link a recent playlist we did about the FRS changes right here. And then we're also going to link right here. If you want to subscribe, you can click that link. It'll subscribe to the station, to this channel. And if you have any questions about your FRS, or if you want to learn more, if you want to stay up to date on law changes and information about the Florida retirement system, subscribe to the channel. That would help us, and it'll help you as we release new videos. Also, if you want to book an appointment, I said before, there's a link down below to schedule a complimentary consultation. Our advisors deal with the FRS every day, and they're very proficient as far as knowing the FRS, the investment plan, the differences, and whether or not it makes sense to do. So feel free to book a complimentary consultation below. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.